In Benue State, over 160,000 people were reportedly displaced by clashes between farmers and herdsmen. It was a big story, and we reported on that. 12 out of the 23 local government councils in Benue State witnessed intense herdsmen attacks in 2016, with hundreds of lives lost, property and farm produce worth millions of naira destroyed. According to the Displacement Tracking Matrix report released in April 2016 from the International Office on Migration, Benue State alone recorded over 106,074 IDPs from insurgency-related attacks. The report indicates that by the end of August 2016, the total figure dropped to 30,584, as most of the IDPs relocated to live with family members in order to earn a living. In 2014, the United Nations High Commission for Refugee began the Gbame Shelter Home Project for displaced victims of herdsmen attacks, and by November 2016, the UNHCR handed over 100 homes to widows and indigent IDP families. Worried by this development, prominent sons of the Tiv ethnic group gather at the Kiesha Shoa Festival in Daudu to promote a campaign on consumption of chicken as a source of protein as against beef, which is the major reason for the conflicts. The women dancing are widows and displaced persons from their various villages, and Reverend Father Solomon Umfa is also an IDP, and he sheds light on their plight.
Yeah, as I say, the mothers that are singing behind me, some are displaced. They can't go back home. They can't go back home because of the Fulani attacks.
It is very important that we do only the things that promote our state, Benue, and the things that promote our unity.
The year didn't turn out very palatable for the people of Otodo, Gbame and other waterfront communities dislodged by the Lagos state government. The struggle for right to life continues for them. We visited one of the communities within the year to see how living has become for them. Voices of women drowned in tears, attempting to express the deep hurt they feel after they were rendered homeless following a demolition exercise conducted by the Lagos state government in Otodo, Gbame, second time within a space of 1 month. In the month of March, this riverine community got a taste of the power of the bulldozer as their houses and whatever structure they had in place were brought down just few months after a similar incident took place, which they alleged led to the displacement of over 30,000 people in November 2016.
We have been there for a very long time. So that is where I was born and brought up. I started my primary school at Momba, Community Primary School, which is present day Lekki Phase 1. There were some communities there before, which they later moved, government moved, that was 1980 something. They moved them and did a resettlement for them at Aja area. So the communities were not affected at Otodo, Gbame, Itedo, Elegushi and Ajiro. We were there. So the other ones were resettled.
The peace they claimed they once enjoyed has been shattered since the Lagos state government became interested in their land.
If they want to do something like that in Ethiopia, we are used to those things. They will first of all engage boys, send different kind of faces. And that is what happened the previous time when we call police. We saw different faces, so they start fighting. They will just come to your community. Before you know, they would have done what they want to do.
An eyewitness video shows the evictees on their boats and canoes trying to escape to safe places after an invasion left them displaced. When a 30-second robbery incident took place in Agidingbi, Lagos, it raised several questions, including the impact a $500 million CCTV project had in the country. if any? Well, we're still keeping our fingers crossed and watching the scene. It was like a movie scene, and it all happened under 30 seconds right here at this car park. And for those who haven't actually seen the video, we'll be showing you the actual CCTV footage.
The lady drove into the establishment because she thought she was being followed. And so now that's the vehicle that she believed was following her over there. What she didn't know was that there was a second vehicle across the street that was also working in tandem. I just wish that before she came out, she would have watched to see if that vehicle just kept going, but instead it entered the petrol station. So now from this other vehicle, this guy jumps down, okay, and comes running towards her car. And if you see him going there. And the thing about this whole thing, I think one of the major things is it shows the adaptability of this criminal group, okay? They were able to adapt that quickly. When she changed her plans, they changed their plans. And the second thing is, if you see how impeccably dressed he is, so he doesn't look like the typical criminal. If it was a guy in the, with the cutlass that was coming there, of course, people would have been looking. But because he dressed well and he was walking towards the vehicle, they didn't know. Then you see the other two vehicles convene there to serve as a cover. One is a getaway vehicle. The other one is just kind of blocking him off in case anything happens, so he can jump into anyone at any each time. So once it's done, he just jumps right into that vehicle, which matches his appearance, and they both zoom off. The lady is actually very lucky that this establishment even had a CCTV camera. If not, she would have been wondering, am I going crazy? I know I left the money there. So she's lucky in that aspect. So some of the major recommendations we'll give is, number one, if you ever think you're being followed, try to drive to the nearest police station. Now, if you're not from the area, you don't know the police station nearby, just try to ask maybe some of the road safety or last mile, anybody you see in the area, for the nearest police station. Let them know you think you're being followed, and possibly one of them will go with you.
While private organizations may have found wisdom in installing CCTV cameras within their work environment, this cannot be said of public corporations. Only recently, about $500 million was spent on installing CCTV in the Federal Capital Territory and Lagos. A tour of the FCT to find out the state of this public facility leaves you with a feeling that another scam may have been played on the country. There is nothing much to show for it. Security expert Ona Ehomos thinks this is as a result of non-commitment by the government.
So the problem is there is no real commitment on the part of the executive, the part of the decision makers to closed-circuit television technology as a tool for societal control, as a tool for crime control in Nigeria. There's no real commitment to it. It's lip service, and usually it's just to defraud, to collect money and walk away and say, well, with this CCTV, they put 2 cameras that get plucked overnight, and then they say, well, no, we've been put them, but they have plucked it.
What we are looking at is to investigate why there was failure. We understood it's right from the initial stage of the project. Secondly, what are we going to do to salvage it? That means injecting some money for the takeover of the projects. Third is to have a good hands to take care of the CCTV and other aspects of the security project which involved data transmission, communication between the Nigerian police force, and so on and so forth.
3 years after 1,000 surveillance cameras were supposedly installed in Abuja, it's back to status quo. Corruption may have played its game again, while we stand aside watching. In security matters, no one is spared of its backlash when adequate attention is not paid.